All right, what up, fellas? Look, today we're going to talk about the work. We talk about this a lot in a lot of podcasts about how some people just they don't have the work ethic or they're not doing enough. But I want to talk about what that enough and what that work actually looks like. And we're going to kind of go back to who we were as journeyman traders and into who we are today. I want to read a quick quote from Kevin Hart to kind of set us off here. Kevin Hart, one of the biggest movie stars and comedians out there. He's worth a billy, right? He said, everybody wants to be famous, but nobody wants to do the work. I live by that. You grind so hard so you can play hard. At the end of the day, you put all the work in and eventually it'll pay off. Could be a year, could be in 30 years, but eventually your hard work will pay off. So Brian, I'm going to flip the first question to you today. When did you realize trading, like it had to be an obsession and not just a hobby? Like, was there a point for you maybe early on when you were like, man, I just got to give it all?
You know, I it's funny because you asked me something, you texted me something the other day about, people and changing their lives and just changing in general. And I am an obsessive person, right? I knew that I wanted this so bad. I was fighting to be a professional competing, not a bodybuilder, but a physique competition. And I stepped on the stage and I won. And when I stepped off that stage, I thought, I'm going to go be a trader. I'm going to go and I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this. Nothing's going to stop me. And I will not stop until then. I think that's one point I had a realization, this is going to be incredibly hard. Not incredibly hard, but this is going to take a long time. So for me, I was obsessed from the gate. But the important realization for me was to realize this is going to take a long time. I remember when I asked my coach, I said, what would it take for me to win a bodybuilding competition? And he said, in your present condition, probably about 2 years, a lot of work, and a lot of guts. He said a lot of balls. And I wanted it faster. I thought, can I get there faster? And he said, no. Do you want to compete or do you want to win? Because it'll take you could go compete tomorrow. But if you want to win, you need to give me 2 years, all out dedicated. I'm talking eat, sleep, drink. And that's what it took. So I think at a certain point, I realized that it's going to take time, a lot of dedication, and a lot of guts. For me, it was just the same thing.
Yeah. I'm going to answer that same question. And Duncan, I want you to answer it for you. So I'm similar to you in that way, I think, where I don't, like anything I set out to do, I'm going to conquer it and I'm going to go all in at 100%. I don't just buy a fish tank, right? I buy a 600-gallon in-wall reef tank, right? When I first bought my house, I was like, look, I'm a Star Wars nerd, right? And I was like, I'm going to buy some cool Star Wars action figures. I don't just buy one Star Wars action figure. I got 600 of them bitches in storage right now, right? I don't like when I do something, I'm going to just do it. And I get so obsessed over it until I conquer it. I go all in, 100% all in on it. And I've been that way my whole life. When I got my first real job at Radio Shack, I was like 15 at the time or something. You guys remember Radio Shack?
Yep.
R.I.P. Radio Shack.
It's a crypto company now.
Yeah. Well, I went all in. I wanted to be the best salesman at Radio Shack. And then 6 months later, I was the best salesman. And then pretty soon I was like, I wasn't the manager of the store. I was only 15, but I was the senior sales associate, like right underneath the manager. Then I went to Circuit City and I did the exact same fucking thing. I'm going to be the best fucking salesperson that Circuit City has. And I was the best fucking salesperson. And by the time I was like 18, I wasn't a store manager. I was 18 years old. They're not going to give an 18-year-old the keys to a store, but I was right underneath him. I was the entertainment manager over everything in the store at 18 years old. So I was about 22 or 23 years old. And then it was the same thing with cell phones, right? When I went to go sell cell phones, I became the manager of the store. It's just how I am. I become so obsessed at just fucking winning and getting this. And I looked at that the same way with trading or with tactical edge. I look at it the same way. I'm not going to be content until I am just rushing and outworking everybody else. because that's what it's taken to be successful in any other area of my life. Is I have to crush the competition. I've got to outwork everybody else to succeed and be raised up. And I just took that to trading. We say this quote a lot. Once you see the way broadly, you see it in all things, right? It's like paraphrasing Miyamoto Musashi, but yeah. So for me, it was the same thing. It was right out of the gate. And Donkey, we started at the same time. We were both obsessed. We were texting each other all night and day, and we grinded this out together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end my rant there. What was it like for you, Donkey?
Well, it's for me, it's funny because I've worked commission gigs literally all my life. I've held one job at a Wendy's that wasn't a commission based gig, and my actual first job was that, and then my next job at 16 was at Sears in the hardware section. R.I.P. Sears. There's a theme here, but it was commission only. And the more I put in the work, and the old guy, I mean, I was young, right? All the way through college, I worked it, and the old guys would take like 3 smoke breaks an hour, and I'm just sitting here. Okay, cool. I got the next guy. I got the next guy. I got the next guy. It got to the point where my checks were bigger than these like full-time guys, and they were mad at me. Like they were trying to get me fired because they thought I was taking all the ringing. But I was just putting in the work. And the thing you realize about commission gigs is there's no cap. The cap's the effort. And that put that bug into me very, very, very early in life. And the last full-time job I just lived was making a living with, full-time commission only gig, support my family, my household. And trading's really no different. Work put in, effort put in is a direct result to success, to gains earned. And unlike most of those commission gigs, there's no ceiling, man. Like, who's going to tell you how many trades you can take a day, how much you can make a day? It's all based on, just straight commission. How much I enter here, I exit there. How much did I make?
This
Right?
is a commission gig, right? Think
Yeah.
about it. You get paid commission off of your discipline. You get paid commission off of outworking others and controlling your psychology and your entries and your exits. It's a commission gig. So do you think then that there is such a thing as, what do you call this, right? You call it grit. Like that's the word for it, right? Is grit. You have grit. You're outworking everyone. You're obsessed, right? It's grit. Do you think there is such a thing, Brian, as having too much grit? Is there such a thing? And if there is, what would that even look like?
Grit. I've experienced burnout, right? I've definitely experienced burnout. I've given my eyes to this trading thing. I've stared at screens until my eyes don't work anymore. I think that people say like, oh, you got to have balance. You got to have balance. I've never had balance. I've always been all in. Too much grit. I mean, I think I heard a good quote. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. I think it was you who said one time, I said, hey, thanks for everything you do. And you said something like, this is what I am. This isn't what I do. And I don't think you can have too much grit, but I think you can definitely, in trading, you can experience burnout. You need those breaks. Like you've told me at time, hey man, touch grass. I remember one time I was having a series of bad trades and you said, dude, take the mulligan, go touch grass, be with your kid, take a vacation, do it,
What's your quote? You have one that's like, take a knee, but don't.
Yeah, take a knee, but don't lay down. It's like your coach used to tell you. If you went and sat down on the bench in the middle of the game, your coach would say, "What are you doing? You don't sit down. Just take a knee." It's the same thing when you're down and out. And the market's beating you up, or you're just, take a knee. Don't lay down. Don't sit down. Just take a knee. Take a breath. Put your arms over your head and get back in the game.
So for me, and just thinking about like my success, and there's been failures in my past. Believe me, there's been plenty of failures in my past. But when I think back to the successes that I've had, right, when I'm trying to outwork everyone in the room and climb these ladders at whatever company I was working for, have you ever outworked everyone in the room, so to speak, and still feel it's not enough? Both of you. I mean, Nick, you can go first. I mean, Nick, like the last job you just had, did you not win a bunch of awards and they're flying you around to fucking Miami and all kinds of shit?
Yeah. But I've felt the potential of the cap fading. Like, been doing it for, I don't know, 16, 17 years. It was a haul. And, I was outworking most of the people. And, over time I was seeing things like cap, right? So I had to unlock something new.
What about you, Brian? You ever just outwork everyone in a room and still feel like it's not enough?
Well, my history is I was a professional criminal for many years, so
Yeah.
I had to know what everyone was doing. So when I went into the workplace, I I immediately would always look. The first thing that I would focus on is like, all right, I'm going to try to solve my boss's problems. And I learned quickly if you think about the bigger problems, if you can solve your boss's problems, I don't care if you work at Wendy's or Radio Shack, if you can solve your boss's problems, you could probably write your own ticket. I've always had it in me, like, I'm never really competing with anybody else. I just set the bar higher. I mean, I write down a daily contract every day. I've done it for 10 years. I write down on one page exactly what I want, and then I write down on the next page exactly what I have to do the next day to make a base hit to get towards that. So I'm competing with myself. And usually when you're competing with yourself, you're outworking everyone around you.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say. When I was a younger man, I was competing against the other salespeople or the other managers, or eventually it was the other stores. And now, as I'm a little bit older, it's like that Pitbull video that I sent in Discord to your quote. It's like, look, my only competition now is me. And I used to when I was a new trader, I would pocket watch, right? I would watch these guys flash these P&Ls, most of which were probably fake. These influencers in Miami with the Lambos, in a condo overlooking the ocean.
Yeah, dude. Crazy.
But it's the only competition is me. Like, I'm my only competition. Am I batting 100% on trades? No. Will I ever bat 100% on trades? No. But can I strive for it? Can I try to get there and try to get myself better and better and better every single day? I'm my only competition. And it's the Pitbull quote, right? What did he say? The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. Okay, how about this one? Can you teach obsession? Can you teach grit? Can you teach work ethic? And here, let me give you an example. And this might not be a PC example. There are people in the hood, and there are people in Appalachia, right? And there are people in third world countries who are in the same exact situation, right? You've heard the saying, like, some people don't even have bootstraps to pick themselves up by, right? Some people make it out of the hood. Some people make it out of Appalachia. Some people make it out of the favelas in Brazil. So can you teach that? Or is that something that you think people are born with? Go ahead, Brian.
I think 100% you can teach that. You know, somebody asked me, I'm a single dad, and somebody asked me once, like, hey, what's your parenting technique, or what is your daughter seems really, really great. Like, what's your parenting technique? And I just told them, I'm living the life of my dreams. I'm going all in on me, and I'm going to let her watch. And that's it. I'm going to live the best life I can possibly live. I'm going to live out loud, go for it, fail in front of her, win in front of her, everything, and just let her watch. And it happened with me. My pops he was just like me, and through just watching him, and I've learned it from you, Ben. When you came out here in California, we talked about, hey, let's make a school. You had that school created in a week, and doing live sessions, and being a parent, father for a house of children. I'm like, dude, this dude just killed that. Like, I'm slacking, right? Like, I see what needs to be done. I think that I don't know. I don't know if you're born with it, but with me, I think that it's just about taking and accomplishing those small daily wins and chipping away at it day after day after day. But I think anybody can learn it. Yeah, you can learn to get busy because it's about action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can teach that. Like to a kid, sure. To a 40-year-old man who doesn't have that would probably be pretty hard, I would think, right? Because they have 40 years of learned experiences and that you probably got to unlearn a lot of that. So maybe you could. It would take a long time. I definitely believe a lot of people are just born with grit, determination. There's a lot of people out there who are they're just workhorses, man. That's just the way they are. I think you can teach, well, I think you can show discipline. I think you can show people how to do it, right? And talk about it and show the results and talk about the journey and the process. I don't know that you can make them drink it, though. I don't know that you can stick that hose in their mouth and make them drink it. I think that very few people have. I believe that. I don't know, Dunky. What do you think?
I think if the factors that determine your grit are different for people, right? For me, it's really never about me. It's always external factors. It's, hey, look, man, um, my kids need this, or my wife needs this, my family needs this. Dude, I don't know if I'm rare in this situation or not, but I rarely do anything for me, right? So when things come up, and I got to push myself harder, it's usually an outside factor that I'm trying to uh, push myself towards and for, right? Um, and you find that a lot in like relationships and not being selfish in relationships. So when you can put something second and not yourself, I think you are rewarded better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't do this for me, dude. Do I want to sit in front of a fucking chart 8 hours a day? Fuck no. I mean, I don't sit in front of a chart 8 hours a day these days, but did I want to put the time, in that we've put into these charts every single day for the last decade and a half? Dude, I'd rather sit down and play Call of Duty. You know what I mean?
I think that's something. Donkey just said something super important. And recently I had like a little bit of a health scare. And Donkey reached out to me and said, "Hey man, I've been through that road." And Ben, you asked me the other day. You said, "Hey, what do you think keeps people from really changing their lives?" And I think it's gratitude, man. If you
Yeah.
want something bigger than what you have to have a bigger purpose that you're fighting for. Like, people will change drastically when they have kids because it's
Yeah.
not just about them anymore, right? And that's why you get up and you're happy to do the work. That's why
Yep.
most people show up and they're like, "Oh man, I got to do this shit again." I show up, man, tired, hungry, and I'm happy to do the work because I think to myself, man, this suffering, my pain has a purpose. Like I'm doing this so my kid can see a example of a badass going for it. I'm doing this so my kid can have a better life and probably get further than me. I think it has a lot to do with gratitude and just not being selfish.
Yeah, and I think that's a factor that makes it difficult for younger folks, man. Like, you're not working for anything because you got nothing to work for, right? I've always been a person with goals, like a sticky note here on the wall that says I want this or I want that, that kind of stuff, or this is what I'm working towards. This is the result I want to earn. And I always put that stuff in front of me 24/7 to know, what I'm working with.
Yeah. So what is obsession? Where does obsession come from? And I think, Dunk, you kind of nailed it on the head there. It comes from meaning, right? Like
Yeah,
you're doing it not for yourself, you're doing it for your family.
yeah,
It's fuel. I don't think you can force obsession, right? Like you can't force obsession, but you could maybe like ignite it by connecting, work to like identity and purpose for somebody. What does mastering this mean for you? Is it financial? Is it time? Is it money? Is it status? What is it? So yeah, so okay, right. So let's just assume you can teach it. And I think that's kind of what we try to do, right? I mean, that's every single day. That's what I try to do. I try to lead by example, right? I'm at the New York session every morning an hour before it opens every single fucking day. I'm showing up and doing trainings in Discord every single fucking week. So
yep,
I am trying to lead by example and show people the way, right? So why do most traders plateau or chase quick highs instead of putting in real work? Can an underdog turn it around? Like, why then? Why if we can do all this stuff and show people, and it doesn't even have to be with trading. Like, I can think of examples when I was training new hires at Circuit City or any other job that I've had in the past. You can show them the way. They say they want it, right? They say they want it. We've taken polls. They say they want it. So why do they plateau? Why do they fizzle out? What's that? Right? What is that? They want something. They want it. They want the Lambo. They want the Miami mansion. They want to take care of their family. They want to quit their 9-to-5 job. They know what it takes. Why do they plateau? Why do they fizzle out? Why don't they listen? Why do they deviate? Why don't they stick to the plan?
Who wants that? I think
it's frustration, man. Like, it's just they're not catching it fast enough. They haven't given the proper amount of time to do it. I think they blow through money too quick, too risky. I think there's a lot of issues, dude. I think it's the hardest fucking job in the world with the biggest potential for earnings. And I think people aren't willing to work hard enough to earn it.
So I
simple.
also think that with trading, in the world of trading, like if you're going on YouTube and you're looking at traders, it's so easy to be misled, right? It's so easy to get caught up in this thing of external motivators, right? It's like, oh, okay. And Jim Rohn has a good quote. He says, money isn't everything, but you can count on it. So money is definitely the scoreboard, right? Let's take a look at the scoreboard. I think that a lot of people, when they get into this, they don't know what it is. They don't know what the work looks like. And they don't have good mentors to let them know, like, hey, man, the finish line is always going to keep on moving on you. 10,000 is not going to be enough. Then it's going to be 50,000. Then it's going to be 100,000. Then it's going to be 1,000,000. There is no finish line, right? And I think a lot of people, they just get frustrated and burn out because they're chasing the wrong thing, right? Yeah, they really just don't know the work. I remember when I first got sober, like 12 years ago, a guy asked me, he said, do you have a problem with alcohol? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, what are you willing to do to make that problem go away? And I said, anything. And a month later, he called me up and he said, it was 12:30 in the morning. He said, hey, come to my house. I just got a call. We're going to go out to some drunk's house and take her to rehab. And I was like, dude, it's 12:30 at night. And he said, you said anything. And we had to go out to this house, drive an hour and a half away, get this lady's kids, take them to her mother's house, drive her to rehab. And so it was like, I think that poor examples of knowing what the work is key. And good mentorship.
I think, what is the quote? Good is the enemy of great, right? Like, few people attend great lives. Who was it who said, like, most men lead lives of quiet desperation? Was that Thoreau? Who was that? Was that Thoreau? I don't know. Someone in the comments will have to let us know. Well, look, it's so fucking easy to settle for good. That's easy, right? It's easy to settle and be good. That's
good
easy.
It's good enough to settle for enough sometimes for so many people.
Yeah. But right. But there are people out, and that's fine. Like, I'm not disparaging people who are settling for enough. That's fine. I have nothing wrong with that. Some people, look, everyone's idea of a successful life is different, right? But to the people who want to achieve more, who want to get better constantly, it's easy to just settle for good. Yeah, I think, look, comfort's an enemy, right? Good is an enemy. Life is good enough so you don't push in trading, right? And look, think back to, like, when you first started trading, and I'll think back to when I first started trading. There was an initial excitement, right? There was a initial, like, ooh, I can make some money here and quit my 9-to-5 job, and then the market smacked me on the ass a bunch, and that took the fun out of it. It really did. It took the fun out of it. But then it ignited something else inside of me. That it ignited that obsession part of me, where it's like, all right, this is a puzzle. Let me figure this out, right? But it also wasn't a time to throw a bunch of money at the wall anymore. It was a time to take it seriously. It It was a time for that grit to come out of me and put in the work and do it the proper way. And I think that's the fork in the roads, right? That people take. It's the path less traveled is the path of discipline, perseverance, of all the things that we're talking about. I was not going to settle for good. Good's not good enough for me, right? Great is what I want. I want a great life for my kids, for my friends, my family, everyone. I don't know. Everyone wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die, right?
It's an interesting one.
I don't know. So, all right. Many traders, look, we got examples. We'll just use some past members as examples in our group. We've come through over the last 4 or 5 years, right? You show them the way, but they don't do the way. They do it their way, and then they spin out for 6 months, for 8 months. That's ego, right?
Yep.
Is that ego? What else? What do you think it is, Brian?
I think it's programming. I think that people, it's, I don't know. I think that that's like a mind fuck. Like people can't allow themselves to follow someone else's plan or just truly be a student, right? I think that they get
I
him.
like
They get
that.
him.
I like that. I like that. A lot of people are bad students, right?
They know how to be a student.
Uncoachable. Some
Right.
people are uncoachable.
And that gets back to the thing that you said before. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. People
Mhm.
show up, and I love the quote that says the middle class is the most delusional of all, because they know that a higher level exists, but at the same time they know that they're not doing what needs to be done to get there, so they have to lie to themselves. And usually it looks the same. People surround themselves in weird ass echo chambers who nobody's calling each other out on their lack of effort or their lack of shit. You have no problem with texting me going, hey, you're slacking, pick it up or you're out of here, right? I think I got that text today. But
Yeah, you
I
did.
think that a lot of people truly won't say, hey, look, I'm going to treat this like a newborn baby. I'm here to absorb. I will follow directions. People think they look in the mirror and go, hey, I'm a full grown man or a woman. I made it this far. And it's just programming. You really have to reprogram. Like you said before, you have to unlearn. To learn something new, you have to delete the old software and completely upload a new mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. So then look, let's pivot. What does the work look like? Right? Let's do like a tactical breakdown. Because look, all 3 of us agree that you got to bust your ass, that this is one of the hardest professions in the world to be successful at. There's no coasting. You need to sacrifice, right? I mean, that's 3 people who have positive P&Ls, who have figured this out, who have been doing this for years and years and years, are saying this consistently, right? You have got to fucking outwork everybody. This is a profession. It's not a hobby. We can all agree on that shit. So let's go to the next step then. What does that actually look like? Let's do like a tactical breakdown of trading habits, prep, study, execution, like the grind behind the scenes that nobody sees, right? Nobody sees. Like what are we doing? So I want you to walk me through not your morning routine today. I want you to walk me through what your days looked like when you first started to get into trading. Maybe not like the first or second day, but when you got excited and you wanted to like learn it the proper way, what did your days look like?
My days look like high time frame trades. It look like planning things on the daily in the 4 hour.
No,
like
no, 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 no. Off the
right.
chart shit, dude. Like
Off
learning.
the chart shit.
Like what
Oh.
what were you doing with you know 3 months into trading, you weren't planning. I mean, maybe you were, but how were you learning? How were you consuming? What were you learning? How much time did you spend at the charts? How much time
I
did you
lived
spend
on it, dude.
reviewing
My
your
charts
journal?
were literally on my television all night. Like the level of obsession was huge when I found that the success. I literally the live streams that are Bitcoin on YouTube, dude. Literally one going in every room I'm in, and I'm watching. Like, okay, it took that. It should bounce now, and I just did that. I played little games with it over and over and over in my head for months. falling asleep looking at charts. I'm like, okay, it's coming into this area here. Okay, it's bouncing. What does it look like it's bouncing off of? And those are the games I played every day, for months and months and months.
And
I turned it
how
into a
much time?
little.
How much time a day would you say you spent thinking,
Dude,
studying,
if I had my
reading?
phone in my hand, my charts were open. Obsessive. If you go back to my trading view hours, probably back then on just mobile alone, it was probably 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah, I believe that. That sounds about what mine was at that
Yeah.
time. And
And it wasn't necessarily
I know
taking
Brian's
trades.
too.
It was watching reactions. Like, the only way to learn this and self-teach is to literally look at a chart, watch how it reacts, where it reacted, and try to explain why it reacted at that area. And eventually you'll start pattern recognition. Even if you never pulled up, like, if you didn't Google like trading patterns and saw like a falling wedge or, an M pattern or, whatever, a bull flag, bear flag, you would start to recognize these patterns just based on time invested in seeing where price reacts and how it reacts and what it does. That's the only way to self-teach this. If you're not willing to listen to somebody else, you do just watch. I mean, learning through osmosis on this without taking a trade is huge.
Yeah. Brian, I know your story. I could tell it. I could tell your story, but I'm going to let you tell, I know you spend a lot of times, dude. I know you got notes all over your desk, all over your fucking wall right now. I know you got journals upon journals sitting on your desk. I know that before Brian's at work, he's on the charts, and after Brian's home from work, he's on the charts. I know
Yep.
he's putting out videos. I know he's posting charts in Discord. I know he's marking out all his levels. He's always thinking about the profession because he treats this like it's his job, because it is his job. It is his job. Go ahead, Brian. Tell me a little bit about your process early on, trying to figure everything out. What did it look like? How much time were you spending? What were you doing?
My process early on was, I look back on it now and I cringe. It was ugly. I was obsessed from the beginning. I remember one day about like 5 years ago, some guy was like, "Hey man, I made a bunch of money in this crypto coin." And I was like, "Oh yeah? What is it? Tell me about it." And he pulled up CoinGecko and he goes, "This." And I looked at CoinGecko. I was like, what is this? And he was like, "If you want to know about crypto, study this." And so I would just open up CoinGecko for a year. And I looked at it and said, okay, I have no idea what I'm looking at. The first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to just figure out exactly every single thing on this screen. I want to know what this is. So that turned into market cap, total lock value, circulating coins. I would write down the price of everything every day and then write down the price the next day. And I didn't even know what trading view was yet. And then I took the whole round trip of like indicators and this and that. But for me, it was eat, sleep, drink. And like I still, to this day, I'll laminate stuff that you say. I won't just like write something out. I will like type it out, screenshot it, laminate it. I've got some of your trades right here on my wall. And I had no idea what it was. I have no idea what Ben was talking about. I remember one time you got on early on when I was under a mentorship and you said, "We hit this level. Was there any liquidity there?" I was like, I don't know what the hell that means.
What the fuck is liquidity?
Yeah. And so I went on and I would literally fall asleep on with videos and just audiobooks on what is liquidity. So for me, it was just about just absorbing. And then the second part of that question, I think, is I think you're going to ask that next question. So for me, the work early on was just absolute absorption. I want to learn every single bit of this. Nobody is going to know. I'm going to know more than everyone. This guy just knows coin. I'm going to know everything on this about every single coin, every single thing. Nobody's going to outwork me. Nobody's going to it was just, from the beginning, I was just like all out. I'm going to learn everything here.
Yeah. Look, for me, and I probably took a little bit of a different path than a lot of people take. I mean, I didn't watch YouTube videos. I didn't have a mentor. I like to read. And what I would do is I would just go from topic to topic. I became obsessed. I treated it like trading was a puzzle, right? VWAP is a little puzzle piece, right? Empty, no puzzle, just a bunch of scattered pieces all over the table. VWAP is a piece of that puzzle, right? So I would learn every fucking thing that I could learn about VWAP, all the strategies, all the statistics, all the different plays, how institutions use VWAP, and pretty soon I could find a place for that piece of the puzzle in the puzzle, right? I got my first piece set. And then that would lead me on to liquidity and then order flow and then, all the different little pieces of trading where eventually that puzzle started to get full and full and full. It's not complete yet. I don't know that it'll ever be complete, but it's getting there, right? And for me, I guess I'm a little lucky because I didn't have like a traditional 9 to 5 job then. So I could put in a lot of time at the charts, but I still sacrificed. I still did have responsibilities in a job, and I was not making money from trading at that time. I still had to put food on the table, still had to pay my mortgage. I still had a gig. I still sacrifice time every morning, every afternoon, every evening. Instead of binge watching fucking Netflix or going to sleep or staying up playing video games or scrolling my phone, it was at the charts and it was learning something piece by piece by piece. Like I said earlier, it became an obsession, man. Like, I'm going to figure this out. And when I started to trade, I lost. The market humbled me, right? I lost for years. From like 2021 to I didn't start making money until like halfway through the bear markets. And it wasn't even a lot of money then. I mean, it wasn't really until like 2023 to where I started turning like a consistent profit, like a real good, I'm making a shitload of money enough to replace, maybe later on in 2023, where I could replace my job. It's not the will to win that matters. I think everybody has the will to win. Right? Everybody wants to be rich and famous and successful. I don't, maybe not everyone wants to be famous, but like, yes, 10 people on the street, if they want a bunch of money, they're going to say yes, right? It's the will to prepare to win that matters. And that's from Bear Bryant. And that's something that has stuck with me for a long time. I knew what it was going to take to be successful because I had been successful in other areas of life. And I knew what it took to be successful then. So again, like, let's talk a little bit about the unsexy daily tasks, right? Like what the work looks like. Journaling. We beat that topic to death, right? Journaling. Journal your trades. What do you journal in your trades, right? Go ahead, Brian. What do you put in your journal?
Well, my journal is always kind of evolving. Now it's actually gone to a different level that everyone's on this challenge in the group and seeing what they're recording. But yeah, I think that I've learned after it's been like 4 or 5 years now that the smallest things are so huge. Yep. Like you said, journaling. If you don't know what your statistics are, you're straight up gambling. Like, how could you not know? And I didn't know. I didn't know what my statistics. I didn't know what they were. I didn't know, like, hey, 62% of the time this trade loses, or this. I had no idea, and it was just because I wasn't writing it down, and because I was going too fast. And a big part of the work is in this profession is not working. People think that working is getting in a trade, when really it's the little things, like you say, like journaling. What time did you take your trade? I remember you told me that a couple weeks ago. You said, I want you to start writing down not the trade, not the setup, not this. Write down the time you took the trade. And I realized I was taking a trade at lunchtime, New York session. And that time for that trade statistically doesn't do right. It doesn't do well, or it reverses 2 hours later. And I wasn't even thinking that previously. So yeah, I forgot the question, but I think that
it's all good. Well, just look, imagine this. Imagine Jensen Huang. You know who that is? The CEO of NVIDIA, right? Or any CEO of any company. You're on an earnings call with that CEO. He's talking about the forecast ahead and what the company's going to do and look like. Imagine he didn't know the fucking numbers, right? Would you invest in that company? I wouldn't. I wouldn't invest a dollar if the CEO didn't know what was going on, if he didn't know all the numbers, right? And we can relate that to trading too. I'm going to actually share my screen because people can see that shit on YouTube and on Spotify. If you're on Apple, go to YouTube, right? Here's what you should have in a journal at bare minimum. Was it a win, a break even, or a loss? The date and the times that you enter, right? Was it an A, B, C, D, E, F, G? What grade would you rate that, right? Were you confident in it? When did you take it? New York Open, Asia, New York lunch, right? What kind of an environment was it in? Was it choppy? Was it trending? The setup, what kind of setup type was it, right? And then the most basic stuff that you can enter into your journal is your entry price, your stop loss, your target, and your exit price, right? That's bare minimum of what you should be doing is the date, the time, the entry, the stop, the target, the price. I think if you are not journaling right now, that's where you start building a good habit, right? Because with that information, you can pull up that trade on screen. You can go back and replay that trade. I think to get into a habit, a lot of people are probably out there listening and looking at this thinking, that's too much data, right? That's too much. I don't want to do all that extra work. Well, you're not going to win, right? You're the CEO of NVIDIA. You're the CEO of your own company. I'm the CEO of Ben Trading LLC. I know my numbers. I know where I'm fucking up. I know based off of my journaling that when I take trades during lunch, I statistically fail them. So guess what I don't do anymore? I don't take trades during lunch anymore. I know that the longer I sit at the charts, the more I fail. I know that the more trades I take, the more I fail. I take mostly one trade a day. And I know statistically, based off of years of journals, that my first trade of the day has like a 90% fucking win rate, dude. Because why? I show up an hour before the market opens while most people are still sleeping, sucking their baby bottles with their binky, right? I'm planning out my trades. I'm marking my levels and I'm waiting and I'm watching. I know these things because I've journaled, because I've pulled the data. You probably don't need to get into all this other stuff over here at the beginning, but I mean, this is something that we offer the guys, right? And then look, it tells you your statistics. It tells you New York pre-market trades, New York Open trades, trend up, trend down. It does the work for you. It can't get any simpler than this, right? News days, no news days. How about days of the week? I know my worst days of the week. Maybe not so much since I've started using this trade log, but they're Mondays and Fridays. Those are my worst trading days. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays are the best. I know these things just based off of the journal. I also know what happens when I risk too much. I know what happens when I slide my slider up to 100% in every single trade. I know what happens when I do 3, 4, 5, 10% stop losses because I have the data. I know what type of setups I work best with because I have the data, right? SFPs, SFPs and diagonal breaks all day long, every day. That's what I'm looking for. And I know that because I have the data. But it's this when we say journal. Now look, I'll hold this up to the screen. I journal. I write it down, right? Like when I'm in the trade, I write my trades down. I write all this information down and then I transfer it into it later. And I've always done this. I haven't always done what's on the screen right now with the digital spreadsheet. But I am now because I made it how I like it, right? But I've always done this. This is something new for me. And I'm going to tell you it's better because it's like a Notion. Like Dunkey, you've used Notion in the past, right? Mm-hmm. Where it pulls a lot of that data for you.
Yep. That's the one I made my journal in.
Yeah, it's the same type of thing, except for I programmed this to give me the data that I want, that I think is important for me. And I can continue to add to it and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that's what you put in a journal. Plainly put, that's it. Journal your trades. How do you journal? What do you write? That's how you journal. That's what you write down. If you're not journaling, if you're not doing it right now, at least get the entry, the exit, the target, and your time and day. That's it. Start there. Start there and then build from it off of that.
Yeah, I think a business that doesn't take inventory goes broke.
Yeah, 100%.
And also a trader, like it always trips me out when somebody says, I'm working with such a small account, it's going to take me forever. And I'm like, dude, if you got a good win rate, I'll stake you. Like, don't, you know what I mean? Like if
Go buy
you
a
have
funded account. Go buy a $100,000 funded account for $500. If your system is so good that money's the issue, go put a lemonade stand on the corner, sell some fucking lemonade, right? And go buy a $100,000 funded account. Like if that's your, I can fucking wreck everyone's excuses. It's not money.
money is
money.
not, yeah, lack of money is not the problem.
It's not an excuse.
What's the excuse when they run out of it? Because they didn't trade well to begin with.
Right. True. But that's not a money issue. That's a you issue. That's a
System issue.
system issue. That's
Yeah.
a risk issue. It's not a money issue. And you don't need a $100,000 funded account, right? Go get a $20,000 funded account or $100 or whatever they are.
It's like $30 on, what'd you call it?
Bright funded, the one that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I think how about psychological work, like beyond just chart analysis, like trading psychology, right? Like what are you doing for mindset, Brian? Like what do you? I know you're in the gym a lot. That's got to help with mindset.
Yeah. I think that for me, psychology, it's huge. I think that if you're going to become a trader, your character, your trading style has to fit your character. I could probably take a look at somebody's room and know what type of trader they are. Like, you know, if you have a problem, if you don't like to make quick decisions, that you're probably not a scalper, right? You probably should try swing trading, right? Or if you're overly emotional, you know, the fast pace isn't for you. For me, figuring that out was a huge part of the work. But just recently, I've really separated, like you told me a long time ago, this is a job. It has its hours. And when it's over, right? And I don't trade on the weekends. And I was like, okay, I need to be going 24 hours a day. And that's what outworking him looks like. But there's also a psychological benefit to stepping away and letting your brain process everything and being able to come back fresh.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, dude.
I probably struggle with this the most. I'm a very anxious person. I get anxiety. In trades, I get anxiety. You know, especially when there's a lot of money on the line. I get nervous. I get anxious, and I don't do enough. And I'm just being honest. I don't do enough to curtail that. You know, my buddy Tom says that I should probably do meditation, and he's probably right. Like it might not hurt to try meditation. Affirmations, visualizations. I don't think I do enough here. I'm not psychologically fucked up. I'm not saying that. I think discipline makes up for a lot of my psychological shortcomings. I think I've gotten really good at not giving a fuck about what happens in the charts. I've gotten really good about missing trades and not caring. I've gotten really good about prices taking off and shutting down and just waiting for tomorrow. I've gotten really good at just one trade a day is all I need. I don't care what price does after I close that trade. I don't care. I've gotten so good at that it makes up for some of the other things that I'm not so good at. Donkey, psychological work.
Yeah, I think I need to get better at it. I just, you know, it's tough for me to take a day off and just not trade. You know, I still don't feel great. You know, probably shouldn't have traded today. Took one trade, took a loss. Well, I took a break even on it. I made like $8. It was covering fees.
It's a Zin,
But
dude.
what's that?
That's a Zin can right there.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like I think you can have 6 great months of trading and then a week of tilt and fuck it all up. So it's super important. And again, I think it's different for everybody, right?
Yeah, and I think I'm glad that you brought up tilt because that's going to be next week's topic. We're gonna, you know, somebody asked Ghost, Ryan asked in Discord, like, did the professionals go on tilt and do losing streaks? Yeah, and we're gonna talk about that next week. I got some good stuff planned for that one. Yeah, but so beyond that, I mean, there's, you know, psychology books and trading psychology books and different things that you can read. I mean, there's always work, right? There's always a book to read. There's always a podcast on trading to listen to. There's always charts to watch. There's always trades to cover and go over. Hopefully you're journaling. There's always a journal. There's always something to do that's productive that can make you a better trader. I'll tell you what the most productive thing for me was early on and today and still is just time at the charts. So what should you be doing with time at the charts, right? We've heard it. We've heard everyone say it. And look, I'm not disparaging mentors or books or anything else out there. But nothing replaces time at the charts. We say that a lot. Donkey, you say that a lot.
Yep.
Time at the charts is results. And that's not to take away from a mentor or reading books, because I think those are invaluable too. But it's what you do away from the mentor, right? It's what you do away from the books. What are you doing? It's what you do when you're not sitting down trying to trade, right? It's what you do outside of that. Like for me, it's what makes me better. Sure, it's live trading and stuff like that, but it's the work I put in off of that. It's teaching, training, mentoring, it's making videos, it's going over my journal, it's making the journal. That's what makes me better. So what does time at the charts look like? I'm going to tell you what it looks like for me. And if it's different for you guys, let me know. If I don't, so every morning I wake up, I'm at the charts an hour before market opens. We're marking out all of our levels, right? The daily highs, the weekly highs, the session highs, horizontals, diagonals, anchored VWAPs, fixed volume profiles. And then it's watching. First of all, it's planning the trades around them, right? If price does this, like today, we planned out, I think, 3 main trades that we were looking for this morning. We had 3, I was looking for 3 main trades. I was looking for a run up of London liquidity and dump. I was looking for a play around VWAP, like I look for every day, or the London liquidity low. And what happened today? Both plays happened today. I took a long off of the VWAP sweep and reclaim and trapping all those shorts. And then we went up when we took, I haven't looked at it lately, but we went up when we took London high and then we dumped. So both of those played out, right? So I'm prepping, I'm planning, and then I'm waiting. But even when I'm not doing that, because I miss most of the day, usually I'm done by 11 o'clock, I will replay the moves of the day that night, right? So where were the impulse moves? Where did the buyers step in? Where did the sellers step in? And what were the indicators? What was price doing? What did we take? And I just did that over and over and over again, every single day, playing and breaking down every single swing, every single bounce up of support and resistance, every single breakout, every single fake out. And I still do that to this day. I've done it for years and I still do it to this day, and I'll still be doing it 5 years from now. I think that the second you stop doing that, the market moves on without you, right? There's decay. What is it? Strategy decay? Like the market changes, strategies change. A strategy that worked 10 years ago might not work today. A strategy that works today might not work in 5 years. The markets evolve, and so do strategies. So do, dude, indicators are not indicators, but algorithms are constantly being tuned. They're constantly being tuned at these hedge funds, Jane Streets, Wintermutes, Citadels. They're constantly being tuned to the market because the market's constantly changing. So do you guys have a different approach with your time at the charts, Nick?
Not really. I got an alarm in the evening that says it's 10 p.m., right? But it's got to have, I like to have my levels done by 10 p.m. for the next morning. So I'm not rushing because sometimes, I got kids and shit. So sometimes like little kids, right? We got the twins now. It'll be 1 tomorrow.
Yeah. So here's, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, it changes, right? I like to play the hour levels, so I'll mark out all the hour stuff. And based on the hour levels, I really just go from there. But I'm not great at catching the New York Open 15-minute move and being done for the day. So I tend to wait for those trend breaks off of hour highs, 4-hour highs, or lows. So I take it a little slower than most people, but it nets me better results.
Yeah, and look,
And I just know me, so
I'm going to share my screen again.
Sure.
And I'm going to show you exactly what I do and exactly what I've done and why it's made me the trader that I am today. So look, we have impulses. There's several of the best trades on here, right? This was a great short, was it not?
Yeah.
Beautiful short. This was a great short, was it not? This was a great short, was it not? This was a pretty good long. This was a break. I mean, here was like a downward trend. Boom, broke up. Here was a nice play. Here was a nice play. And here was a nice, well, a long into a short. Here's how I looked at that. How can I catch those? That's where my mind went. Is how do I catch those? I would break those down on every single time frame. I would look at volume. I would look for divergences, previous highs, previous lows, market patterns. What was volume doing as we got to that top? What did it take? Were there trend lines there? Was there diagonals? That's how I did it. I would just all the best moves of every single day, of every single session, of every single week, even to this day, gets broken down religiously. So I can catch them. I need to understand them in order to catch them. So what does breaking them down actually look like? Well, just replay them. It's a little replay tool. Start new, go up, erase, like we know right now that price dumps here. Dissect the shit out of this. Dissect the shit out of this. Erase everything. Use a little replay tool and erase it and live in that until you fully understand what happened. Then move on to the next or move on to the previous. What were your indicators doing? Was there a time frame alignment, right? Was the 5, the 15, and the hour doing the same thing? Was the daily and the weekly in line with the 5, the 15, and the hour? That's what made me who I am today. And I know that's what made Dunkey who he is today. I know that's what made Brian what he is today. It's just, this is what you should be doing with time at the charts, especially as a newer trader who doesn't understand market structure yet. Now, notice something on my chart here, right? I have price action and 2 indicators. I have price action, volume, and momentum. I don't have a rainbow assortment and clouds and buy and sell signals and freaking spider lines and all kinds of bullshit. I don't. It's just price. You got to learn this before you can understand anything else. So when I say time at the charts, that is what I mean. It's just break down the moves. Break down the moves so you can then see the moves coming as they happen and capitalize off of them. You guys agree, disagree, have anything to add to that?
Agree. I mean, that's how I learned. Like I explained it earlier, just every second I could. Why did price react here?
Yeah.
And then, you get to a point where you understand it. It starts to click and the matrix starts to become decoded.
Yeah. And I started to, so because I didn't watch YouTubers, right? I didn't watch any YouTubers. Donkey, you know that, right? Am I lying? Did I watch anybody?
No, he fucking hates watching YouTube.
I fucking hate watching YouTubers, dude. I've never watched anybody. I've learned this stuff just by trial and error and by studying the charts and reading books and reading articles on different things. Like I said, putting the puzzle together. But I would text him. I was like, bro, like there's a name for what I'm doing. Do you remember some of those conversations? Like I would be
we
like,
still talk about it.
like I was doing things because I figured it out from just watching price that the people have names for, right? Like I knew swing highs, swing lows, breaks of structure, and choaches before I even knew that there was a name for it from just watching price do this and then breaking the low and the trend changes. I figured that out without reading about, just by doing what I was just showing you, just following the structure, just breaking down every swing high, every swing low, every trend line hit, rejection, bounce, right? If we break through a trend line, what was volume momentum doing? If we do a fake out, right? A liquidity grab and it comes back down, what were the indicators and momentum telling you? That's what made me a killer, man. You agree, Brian?
Absolutely. I love that when you first told me about the replay button, and I thought, man, you don't get any second chances in a trade. You don't get any you don't get second chances in life at something that's passed. But on TradingView, you can hit that replay, hit it from different angles, look at it with different, volume, delta, what did the open interest do? And you do get a second chance on TradingView.
So here's a good one. Nick, we'll start with you. So
Sure.
there's quality time at the charts, and then there's quantity of time at the charts, right? Like there's days where I'm sitting there, I'm like, what am I even doing? Like I've accomplished nothing, I've done nothing. And I'm not even talking trading days. There was days early on where I was trying to learn stuff. I'm like, what am I even? I'm not even doing anything. I'm sitting
Yeah.
here. 2 hours have passed, and I've gotten nowhere. So like, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to ask? Like, how do we talk to people about
Like wasted
quality?
time.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
mm, it's tough, man, because you can just zone out and then you don't get anything done. So, who's the Heisman Trophy coach winner, first guy? Anyways, perfect practice makes perfect is the saying. So if you're practicing wrong, you're just learning things wrong. I think you just practice your system, even if you're not taking trades, like, and you're done for the day, or you're not taking a trade, or if you're in learning stages, you have to stick with your system. And I think paper trading comes in huge for that.
Yeah.
People can just fire away with fake money and see if the trade wins. Like I have no problem with people taking 1,000 paper trades before they take one with real money.
Yeah. And look, that's what Bobby's doing right
Because
now.
yeah, it's a game. Like it is a game, a min max game. If you can min max the game and win the game, you can do it with real money.
Yep. So Bobby signed up for our unit 6-month program, right? I'm going to make him a profitable trader in 6 months. And he is asking questions that I wouldn't think. He didn't know anything 3 weeks ago, by the way. He knew nothing. He didn't know what trading view was. He didn't know what a long or a short was, right? He didn't know anything. And he started paper trading yesterday. This is week 3, by the way. He started paper trading for his first time yesterday. And he called that initial short pre-market where it dumped down
Mhm.
and then pissed it all away, right? Traded 100 freaking times. Price was moving. So he was like, dude, bro, the market
Wait,
humbled me yesterday. He
were
was
you
like,
taking real trades?
no.
Just
Paper
paper
trade,
trades?
paper trade. Yeah.
Gotcha.
First time on an exchange ever, right? That
Yeah.
3 weeks ago did not know what a long or a short was. But he's just like, bro, I got humbled because he thought this was going to be easy. He's talking about how he's not going to lose. And I was like, bro, you're going to lose. And he's kind of joking about it, but he got humbled yesterday. The market humbled him, but I guarantee you he's not going to make that same mistake again. He's not. He's not going to fucking fire off 10 trades on every single wiggle again.
Yeah.
Um, Vince Lombardi, by the way.
Gotcha. That is right. Vince Lombardi.
Um, yeah, I think routine is necessary for efficiency, right? So I think when we talk about quality versus quantity, I think you got to have routine, obviously. I think if you're just sitting at the charts mindless, you're probably better off just going and do something else. You're probably better off going and touching grass. I think routine is necessary, and it's necessary to avoid burnout, right? So it's necessary to get quality time in. I think if you do the majority of the things that we talked about, right? So if you're just like I showed on the chart, man, break down all those trades, all the moves of the day, the resistance, the support hits, the swing highs, the swing lows. Do your journal, break down your losses, break down your wins. I think that's quality time at the charts. I think, any more than that, you might get into kind of spinning your tires. There's plenty of stuff you can do off the charts. Read books, listen to podcasts, mindfulness stuff, hit the gym, right? Go for a walk, spend time with your family. I mean, that's where that balance that Brian was talking about comes into play.
I
Yeah.
think that I love it how you laid out the work, right? What is the work, right? The work is replaying trades, recording your statistics, doing everything. But I think a huge, huge, massive part of the work is mastering the art of doing nothing.
Yeah.
Taking more trades. I thought that was going to make me a better trader. And it it wasn't the case, right? It was taking the right trades and waiting for the right setup. Just the waiting was a huge part of the work for me, because I think that a lot of people show up and they go, okay, well, I'm at the computer. I better get busy trading, right? I need to do something. And a huge part of this is just waiting.
Not to throw you under the bus, but I can remember days where, like last year, we would be doing levels, and Brian's like, "I'm already in trade." It's like, what?
Yeah, I thought somebody say it's going up. All right, it's going up. It doesn't matter if it goes down. I'm in it, right? And then it's just
Yeah,
waiting.
and yep, 100%. And you got to embrace the suck. You got to embrace the waiting, because if you don't, then the market's just going to take all your money, and that's how the markets work. The market is trying to tempt you. Every single wiggle is trying to tempt you into just saying F it, hitting long or short. It is. That's its job. That's the market makers, these hedge funds' job is they know you're going to step off sides and they're going to take your money. And they do consistently.
I think it was Jesse Livermore that he said the market isn't a slot machine. It's a weighing machine. Yeah, just it's I treated it like a slot machine. I'm just up the next trade, up the next trade. One of these is going to hit, one of these is going to hit, one of these like
Yeah, I had a good quote from Warren Buffett about the casino. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Quotes. No, I'm not going to be able to find it. God, that was such a good quote about the casino too.
Oh, was it the one where you're either the gambler or you're the house?
Let me Google it. Warren Buffett. Yeah, kinda casino.
Yeah.
If
If you have a system, then you are the house, right? If you don't, you're the gambler, and the house always wins.
dude, so I Googled Warren Buffett quote. And someone, Yahoo News just did a whole article around the quote and doesn't even tell you the quote. I don't know. I'm not going to find it. Oh, well. So I guess let's kind of just wrap. I mean, look, what's the work in a nutshell, Brian? In a nutshell, what's the work? Don't elevator speech. Someone's you keep we keep telling people they need to do the work. They need to show up. They need to put in the time. Give me an elevator speech on what the work is in your mind, in your words.
I think what you told me in the beginning, right? In the very beginning, you said patience, discipline, and consistency. Show up, put in the work. Like for me, I know what type of trader I am. I know what I'm looking for and when. I know what the reaction is I'm looking for. When my trade comes, I take it. I record my statistics and just stay consistent. For me, the work is proper risk, showing up every day, being prepared. The hardest part for me is because I'm the only guy on this panel that still is not doing this professional. This is the first year ever where I almost have made trading that competed with my career. And I don't work at Starbucks. And this was the first year that my actual profit in the bank out is close to my career gross. So it's not hard for me, but it's a commitment to show up every single morning and be present.
And
at
he's
the
West
chart.
Coast, guys. So his morning New York session is like 5 fucking a.m.
I know,
Yeah.
man. I'm thinking about moving to the East Coast just so I can have that extra 3 hours.
Well, right. So what does showing up every day really mean for a trader? It means that what Brian's doing, he's sacrificing, he's disciplined, he's sacrificing sleep. He could sleep. He could hit snooze on his phone every day and sleep. He doesn't have to show up. He's got a good job. He makes a shitload of money, right? You don't have to show up. You could hit that snooze button and sleep in, but you don't. You sacrifice. You're there at 5:30 in the morning. That's what it means. What does showing up every day really mean, right? Even the days that you don't want to show up. What's that called? That's how you build discipline, right?
Yep.
That's
And
how
we
you
talk
build
about
discipline.
that a lot, right? So, habits, right? So you do it every day. You do it for 6 weeks in a row. It becomes a habit, but you can break that habit in just 3 days.
Yeah, just by doing it, and then do it again, and then do it again, and then
And
do
then
it
you
again.
hit the snooze button day 1. You hit the snooze button day 2. You hit the snooze button day 3, and all of a sudden you're having an issue hitting the snooze button.
Yeah,
Your habit's broken.
Yeah, I call it the bitch bar, right? Ding, I bitched out of my day, right? For me, I knew that if I'm going to have the body I want, I'm not going to give it to some snacks. If I'm going to be the trader I want, I'm not going to give it to that 15 minutes or 30 minutes sleep, because that 15 minutes, it'll throw off my whole morning, my whole day. I knew exactly what I wanted, but I think a lot of people know what they want, but they don't think about what they're willing to sacrifice to get there. And
Yeah.
that's the work.
Yeah.
The work is what you're willing to sacrifice, and that goes into the whole first part of the question. It's not what you do, it's what you are.
And I think
I don't disagree.
I think that's where we end it.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful ending there, Brian.
He's poetic.
So, like I said, we'll touch. I mean, do you guys feel like we showed them and we told them what the work is? I think we did.
Get in the comments and leave a comment if you got something out of this, and shout out Tom, huh? Shout out Tom and shout out Bobby.
Cool. Well, we'll be back
I
next
like it.
week. We'll talk about tilt. We'll talk about how to avoid tilt. We'll talk about losing streaks. Yes, we all have them. We'll
Yes.
see you guys next week.
Later.